Welcome back to My Digital Diaries, and this is the video from Frontend Developer Course series. Today we are diving into the topic classes in JavaScript. In this video we will learn how classes make your code more structured, reusable and easier to manage. This video is perfect for you if you want to level up from functions to modern object-oriented programming. But before we get started, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support our channel, and hit join if you would like to view exclusive learning content. So let's jump in. Now let us start with classes in JavaScript. In simple terms, a class is like a blueprint or a template. Let's take an example. So this is our class person. So it's just like an architect makes a blueprint of a house before it is built. A class defines the structure for objects before they create it. So instead of writing same code again and again, we can create a class once and then use it to make multiple objects with the same pattern. So classes in JavaScript are templates for creating objects. An object is basically a collection of properties and behaviors. When we create a class, we are saving any object made from this class, and it will have these properties and these methods. For example, here we are defining a class called person that will give every object a name, age along with a greet function. So inside the class you can see this dot name and this dot age. These are called instance properties. Why instance? Because every time we create a new object, it gets its own copy of these properties. For example, if we create a one person with the name Jitendra and age 40, and another person with the name say Rahul and age 25, both objects will have their own values. This means the data is not shared. Each object carries its own information. Now let's look at the constructor. So this is the constructor. Okay, the constructor is a special built-in method of a class. It runs automatically when we create a new object using the new keyword. In our case, when we call a new person here, Jitendra, 40, right? It then assigns them to the properties of the object using this dot name and this dot age. Think of the constructor as the setup function that prepares your object with the right values at the time of creation. Next, we have the method called greet. This is an instance method. That means every object created from the person class will automatically have access to this method. When we call p.greet here, the method runs for the specified object and prints a greeting message. While property stores the data, methods defines what the object can do. Now look at this line. Constant p new person. Okay, here we are actually creating a new object from the person class. The keyword new tells JavaScript to make a new object. The constructor is then called with the value Jitendra and 40. Finally, this new object is stored in the variable p. If you see here p. Okay. And it will, if you say p.greet, it will print my name is Jitendra. So every time you use a new keyword, a fresh object is created from the class blueprint. Now comes an important part, class checking. Sometimes we need to check if an object belongs to a particular class. For this, JavaScript gives us the instance of operator. In our old videos also we have talked about instance of parameter, instance of keyword. Okay, so here if we say P instance of person, it will return true because P was created from the person class. If we later create another class like employees, and employees inherit from the person, then the object of the employee will also return the true when checked with the instance of a person. This is because of inheritance, where a child class is automatically becomes an instance of its parent class as well. So to summarize, classes are blueprints of object. Constructor is a special method that sets up values when a new object is created. Instance properties store data, and instances method define what the object can do. By using new, we can create many objects from one class, and with the instance of, we can check which class an object belongs to. Now let us move to a very important concept in JavaScript classes, that is inheritance. Inheritance means one class can reuse features of another class. This avoids writing duplicate code and help us to build a relationship between classes. In JavaScript, a class can inherit from another class using extend keyword. This simply means the new class called the child class can use the properties and methods of the parent class. So instead of rewriting everything, the child class can borrow and extend the behavior of the parent class. When we create a constructor inside a child class, we often need to call the parent's constructor to properly set up inherited properties. So this is done with the keyword super function. Think of super function as a shortcut to say run the constructor of the parent class first, so I can then add my own properties. So let us take an example here. We have a person class from the earlier, and now we create a new class called employee. Okay, that extend a person class. So inside employee we have this constructor. So it takes the three argument name, age, job title. The first line inside the constructor is a super name age, and this calls the constructor of the person, this class, and initialize the inherited properties. After that, we add a new property job title, which is specifies to the employee. Next, we define a new method called describe that prints out a message like if we are passing name as Jitendra, then Jitendra works as, and the job title may be developer. So Jitendra works as a developer. That is how the describe is logging the function. Now, when we create an object of an employee, so we are creating an object of an employee, and we are passing name as Jitendra, age as 40, and job title as a developer. We can call, if you see here, e.greet. So that is greet method is from person. So we can call e.greet method also, that is from the parent, and also their O is its child's own method, that is describe, e.describe. So this shows how inheritance allows us to reuse and extend functionality at the same time. Now inheritance is not limited to our custom classes. JavaScript allows us to extend built-in classes like array, error, etc. and others. For example, we are extending array class. Okay, it's not a custom class, right? So it's a JavaScript class only. So we are extending it. So we have a class called custom array. Okay, now this custom array, we are adding a new method called sum. What it is doing is, it is basically adding all the values of that array and giving the sum. Okay, now if we create a custom array object, okay, and with if you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and if we call array.sum method, okay, so we can directly call the array.sum method, and it will return a 6, that is the addition of all three numbers. Okay, that means we are enhanced the existing functionality of an array. So to summarize, Inheritance allows one class to use another class properties and methods with the extend keyword. The super function calls the parent's constructor and make inheritance work smoothly. The child classes can add their own new properties and methods in addition to what they inherit. And finally, even built-in classes like array can be extended to create a custom and more powerful version. Let us now explore two important features of classes in JavaScript: private members and static members. These features help us control the access to data and organize utility methods more effectively. In JavaScript, we can create private properties inside a class by using the hash symbol before the name. Private means the members are accessible only inside the class, not outside. This helps us to protect internal data from being changed directly by the user. Look at the example here. We have a counter class with a private field count which start with 0. There is an increment method that increment the value of a count by 1 and then prints it. Now when we create a new object of a counter and call increment, it will display 1. But if we try to access C dot count, hash count, like a private field, basically you are trying to access it, it will give you an error because private fields are not accessible outside the class. So this is how private members works. Now next thing is the static members. The static properties and methods are not tied to individual object but to the class itself. This means we call them directly on the class, not on the instance of the class. So let's take an example again here. We have a class called MathUtil. Inside it we have defined a static property pi and we have given a constant value. So pi value we have given here. And then we have a static square function that returns the square of a number. Okay. Now if we call mathutils.py, so you can directly access that without creating an object basically. Okay. And it will give you value as whatever static value which you have provided. Similarly, you can call square function also. If you pass it here square, it will give you the value of the square of that number. So here also you are not created any object. Okay, so that is how the static members works. So static members are called on the class itself, not on the instance. So in summary, private members use hash and can only be accessed inside the class. They keep data safe and hidden from outside code. Static members are called on the class itself, not an object. They are useful for utility methods or a constant that do not depend on individual instances. Let us now learn about mixing in JavaScript. Mixing provides a way to share methods between classes without using inheritance. So this is useful when different classes need to share the same behavior, but they are not directly related through a parent-child relationship. A mixing is basically an object that contains one or more methods. We can copy these methods into any class we want, and this avoids code duplication and keeps our design flexible. So look at the example here. First, we have created two mixing methods. Say hi, which has a method say hi console, which is logging the console hi from this.name. Okay, and then we have a say bye. So say bye, again logging the bye from the username. Okay, notice that both mixins use this.name, so they can work with any class that defines a name properties. So that is very important here to use this. Next, we created a user class and the constructor which takes the name and assign the value to this.name. So at this stage, the user only has a name property, no methods. Okay. Now comes the key step, applying the mixing. So how we can apply the mixing? So object dot assign user dot prototype, and then you can assign the methods here. So this line copies the methods from say hi and say bye directly into the user prototype. That means every object of user will now have both the say hi and say bye methods, even though they were not originally defined inside a user class. Finally, when we create a new user like this, and if we call, you can call u.sayHi as well as u.bye. By using mixing, the user is able to use both the methods without inheritance. It's simple by copying them from separate object. So to summarize here, mixing allows us to share methods between classes without a parent-child relationship. They are just plain object with a reusable methods. We apply them with object.assign to copy their methods into a class. This way we can keep our code modular, reusable, and avoid duplication. So friend, that's it for today. Today we have seen how classes works in JavaScript. I think we have now basic fundamentals ready for the JavaScript. So what I will do is, in next video I will try to create one simple example of whatever the concept we have learned till now with this JavaScript. So we'll have some practical example in the next video. If you like this video and if you are liking this series, please do share this with your friends and colleagues. Do like, share and comment on the video. Do provide your feedback via the comment. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, do consider subscribing to the channel and click on notification bell. Also, there are few videos which might be members only videos. So to get an access of those videos, please do consider joining our channel. I will meet you again in the next episode. Thank you.